It was actually Dad's construction business that brought me to KZ on September 11th, 2001. I was a fledgling graphic designer, and he had asked me if I would help him put together a new brochure for Dan R. Smith Building Services, and I was happy to do that. So we were going to meet at 8 o'clock that morning and go out and take pictures of some of the homes that he had built in and around KZ. When I arrived there at about 8 o'clock, almost straight up, which was unusual for me, I was on time. Dad didn't answer the door, and when I walked in, I found him glued to the television, which was really unusual for him during the day. And my father, he was white as a sheet, and he looked at me and said, "Do you know what's happening?" And at that time I didn't know that about 15 minutes before I had arrived, an airliner had struck the South Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. So I sat down next to him, and I hadn't been sitting to him maybe a minute when we watched in horror as the second airliner struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. So for the next couple of hours, my father and I sat mostly in silence with tears, watching the events of September 11th unfold, and I will never forget that moment. It was kind of a bonding experience for my dad and I. It really impacted my father in a big way. And my dad is very patriotic. He loves this country, he loves his community, he loves people. And he's also an idea man. My dad, anyone who knows him knows that he's famous for saying, "You know, a guy could, ... But he decided he didn't want people to forget. First of all, he didn't want people to forget what happened, the tragedy. He wanted people to remember the lives that were lost on the day of the attacks. But he also wanted to find a way that he could share his faith and encourage people to turn to God for answers, for healing, for a move toward peace. He came up with the idea of making, at the time it was 3,008 white crosses that were about a foot tall, out of wood, one for each victim that was lost in the various attacks on September 11th, and constructing a memorial on the hillside just outside of his workshop facing Washington Street Road. So when you come down Washington Street Road, you always see the hill. It was a perfect place to put a memorial. And he roped his two brothers, Clinton and Randy, in to help him with that, and other small group of family and friends. Constructed all these crosses and painted them, and that first year put them in kind of a small square pattern in the middle of the hill. But subsequent years, he decided every year, I'm doing it again, I'm doing it again. I don't think he really saw that far in the future that how long he would feel like doing this, but for the last 16 years, he's put that memorial out. It's evolved through the years. In 2012, with the Benghazi attacks, he decided to add four crosses for those victims. And one of the most powerful things about the monument, I think, is viewing it at night. When you look at the monument or the memorial at night, it's breathtaking because he's got it lit up and those white crosses just glow. And it's so still at night. And so my tradition has been to go down on the evening of September 11th and just walk around and remember that day with my dad and remember the attacks. Dad loves the people of KZ, and they really come alongside him in seeing that memorial was put out. There were some years it was really hard. The ground was hard. It was hard to get him in, and you had to grid the whole hillside before the day before putting him up. So it was a lot of work, backbreaking work, but always worth it. That building support through the years really was important to Dad, and especially became important in 2015. In 2015, in the spring, my dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And in 2015 through 2017, those 3 years, the memorial would not have happened without the people of KZ coming alongside and helping out. And in fact, this past year, in 2017, we weren't sure we were going to be able to focus on the memorial. My dad had been given very little time, and he was very weak. But there was just something deep inside me that said, we need to do this for Dad. We need to make it happen. And so we did. My dad actually had garnered quite a following on social media because he he used to write daily devotionals, talking about his faith, talking about living in Smithville, and he had gotten a lot of friends through that, so it was really easy to just put out the clarion cry on social media and say, hey, we're going to put this memorial up, will you come help? And we had, in the end, this year, over 100 people show up on September 8th to see that that memorial was constructed, and it took about 45 minutes to put 3,000 crosses in the ground. It was remarkable. And Dad was too weak to really help out in any way, but he was able to come up at the very, very end. Family was able to take the pickup truck and go down and put him on the tailgate and drive him up to see everyone. And it was one of the most moving experiences of my life. I don't think there was a dry eye in Smithville that day. And he was just very moved and very thankful that the people of KZ, that it meant enough to them to do that. And I know that they did it not only to remember the victims, but to honor Dad and his place in the community. He's been involved in the community for many years in many different ways, and the love for him really showed that day. 2 weeks to the day, on September 22nd, my father passed away from pancreatic cancer, and he had a beautiful life. He lived in a town that he loved, on land that he loved, with people that he loved, and who could ask for anything more?
Well, Bolin's beginning was in 1985. Down at Mariah, we started sandblasting and painting oil field tanks out in the oil field. My husband was an automobile painter, so he understood about the painting and the sandblasting, and so he instigated starting it. We just didn't realize how it would turn out, and through the years we've come up with, I think we have like 11 divisions within Bolin Enterprises. We do line lowering, excavations, erosion control, right-of-way clearing. We also have a tank division that does a lot of work on underground tanks and above ground tanks, but still our pipeline is our major heart. We also started a company called Bolin Transport, and they do propane and fuel to residential and farmers. We also have Bolin Automotive, which works on our equipment, but it also works on the public's equipment. And we also opened up a store in 2005 called Jet Leasing as a rental store. And so we do rentals and sales and service. As BEI, we used a lot of small equipment and stuff, and that was a way of controlling and keeping track of it. But then we also went out and served the public too. It's a family-oriented business, and my husband started it in 1985, and then both my sons, Jim and Troy, have come on board and helped build the business. And then we got several employees that have started with us in the beginning and are still with us. But we grew a lot from just sandblasting and painting oil field tanks to doing a lot of other things. We're up to like 240 employees right now, and it's all over the United States. We have people. One of our divisions is OCAM, and we have several people in that division that lives in Texas, Louisiana, Ohio, Indiana. I can't name all of them. The guys, Eddie and Jimmy and Troy, are all visionaries, and so they could see things out there to do and to grow, and we've always took that chance. The community's always been very supportive of us and helped us along, willing to help when we needed it. We've always felt like we needed to put back into our community because we love KZ, and we all grew up here, and the boys have always been here, so we just wanted to put back into the community to help it grow.
I guess KZ was lucky because it was about in either 1963 or 62. It would have been in December. It got its first radio station, and it was WKZI Radio. And its first studio location was above the kids' hangout in town. It was at 8.5 West Main, right above Shover's. I decided that, gee, maybe I should try to get a job there. And I told my dad I was going to get a job there, and he said, sure you are. But I went to work for WKZI in about 1963. WKZI Studios has really had about 4 different locations. Its present studios are, I think, over in rural Denison, Illinois. So the station is still on the air, but just doing some different things from when we were there. The station was really started by 2 gentlemen, a Paul Ford and a Wally Bruner. Wally Bruner had come in from ABC. He had worked for the ABC network. He'd also worked for What's My Line, and filled in for John Daly and things like that. So he was a big celebrity coming to the community, had a great voice, had a great production sense, and him and Paul Ford got the station started and off to running. I think it was in about 1964, possibly 1965, I guess I get the one credit for hiring Jerry Cox, who was later the icon for WKZI. He was there for so many years. I give Jerry Cox credit for building probably what had to be one of the largest country libraries in the Midwest. It was an unbelievable, there were more albums and 45 RPM records in that library than just about anywhere. And it was, and I give Jerry Cox all the credit for that because he wrote to all the record companies. And in 1981, my wife Joyce and I came back to KZ, and I was hired as Vice President and General Manager of the radio station, and that's when we started changing things around quite a bit from what had been done. Of course, kept Jerry Cox because he was the institution, he was the morning man, he was the rock solid guy that certainly knew how to do things at the station. We started a pretty good news department. We thought local news was very important. We hired a full-time news director and then had some other people working in the news department. We also instituted a pretty strong high school sports program. We tried to cover extensively high school sports in Clark County. Of course, we covered KZ sports, and then we also did Martinsville sports and Marshall sports. I think probably one of the biggest promotions that we did was the WKZI Prairie Balloon Meet, 1982. We announced the first annual WKZI Prairie Balloon Meet that was held out at the KZ Airport. And the first year, I think we brought in 12 hot air balloons and sold sponsorships on them and an opportunity. But it was quite an event. I mean, for a little town of KZ to have that many hot air balloons in there, I would just like to thank all the people of KZ and this surrounding area for their support for those many years. It was a fun run, is what it was.
In 1941, September 19th, I do believe, that Friday afternoon, the circus was coming to town. And the circus was called the Gould's Circus. It was, campaign is probably the finest and best on tour. Had the mummified body of John Wilkes Booth as one of the attractions. It had a talking head that would answer questions. And it had Maxine, the 3.5-ton elephant that was going to have a tug of war with a farm tractor. So this drew probably around the counties, they estimated between 1,000 and 2,500 people to this circus, which was going to happen after the KZ Fall Festival parade. So the parade was over, and it was crossing the South Central railroad track, and it cleared, train wasn't coming. Then all of a sudden, from one of the side streets, the circus attendant that had a lion, a lioness, and a bear in a cage backed up on the railroad crossing and got stuck. Well, the Spirit of St. Louis, a double-decker train was coming from the west, and the truck driver, he got scared. He couldn't get the truck off the tracks. He stalled the engine, and the train kept coming. So he jumped out to flag the train. The train just kept going, coming at it. The conductor and the engineer tried to stop the train, but it did not work. It could not stop at the time. So it hit this truck that had the barred cages on it, which released a male bear, a male lion, and a female lion. Well, the female was mortally wounded, and they kind of lassoed her and got her off to the side. And the male lion and the bear crossed the railroad track and started going wherever because it was scared of both of them, and they were running. Well, the townsfolk that was there surrounded the bear and the lion. So they got it surrounded, so then the people that worked for the circus got there in time. They lassoed the lion and the bear. They took the service revolver of a WKZ police officer and shot the male lion. Don't know why they didn't shoot the bear, but they just shot the lion. But they went ahead and lassoed the bear and kept the bear. It was alive. So one of the townsfolk that wanted the bear, Jay Goulds, the owner of the circus, he gave the two carcasses of the lions and the bear to the WKZ lions. And the gentleman took a bear and took it home and put it in his garage while it was alive. He fed the bear, kept the bear alive, and the kids, the grade school kids, the high school kids, the kids around town would go by and rattle on the side of the guy's garage till the bear started tearing his way out. He escaped a couple times, got put back in the garage. Well, they finally put him down. Now, when it comes to the lion, the two lions, the male and the female, were sent to St. Louis by some WKZ lions. They decided after a short meeting that they would take them to St. Louis to a taxidermy. It cost them $350 back in the day, 41, to get these two lions prepared. They brought them back to WKZ at the Chicago Centennial at a convention. The male lion was raffled off. We don't know what happened where it's at. And the WKZ Lions Club got to keep the lioness, the female, and we still have it in a cage and properly prepared. As far as we know, the WKZ Lions Club is the only club that actually has a physical, real lion as their mascot. If the international lions, they don't even have that. They just make up a paper mache or something like that, or a poster. But we, as far as I know, in WKZ, Illinois, are the only ones that have that lion as our symbol.
Grandpa and Hayes, which is my grandpa's brother, they moved into WKZ in 1929, and they opened up a pool room and a tavern. 1940, they went across and bought the building off this W.F. Woods, who owned that. And so then in 1943, they ended up moving the tavern across the street into where the furniture store was at. Dad come into the store in 1945 when he graduated out of high school. Now, the original name was Stifal Brothers when Grandpa and Hayes owned it, and then they changed the name to Stifal and Son when Dad come in. It was 79 or 80 that Dad decided that we would open it up and expand the hardware store. In 92, he decided he wanted to retire, so he said he wanted me to come in and run it. So I hadn't planned on doing it that way, but I mean, things worked around, and I kind of enjoy it. I always like people coming in and having problems because I like to solve the problems. Well, I hate to say it, but back when Dad was running it, my grandma usually was the main honcho in there because she was always the one that was there waiting on people, and she was in there every day. One day she caught somebody shoplifting, and they said that she come flying out of that door and she run him down. She running down the street and she had him, she caught him. So that's the way she was. I mean, she's a tough old bird. It should be about the oldest business in town, continuous running, and the same family. When the person walks in, they don't have to walk around trying to find what they want. Unless we're busy with another customer, usually we'll ask them what they need and we'll go find it for them. And we try to do it the right way, the simplest way, the cheapest way. Instead of trying to sell them a lot of stuff that they don't need, we try to figure out I try to figure out the cheapest way to do it and try to save them a little bit of money. The only change we have made in that store in the many years, 77 years, is we are now taking credit cards. It's just something that I enjoy to do. I enjoy the business, like I say, or I wouldn't still be in it. Like I told my wife, I'll probably be 6 foot under before I leave, so.
We have a challenge for this break. First of all, welcome back. We are WEIU TV studios live right now, having a blast with our storytellers.
Yes, we are. We're having a great time. So what's the challenge?
The challenge is we have 8 storytellers or 8 phone operators. We want a phone blitz. We need 15 people to call during this break. And you ask, why? Because we want to get up to 50. There's got to be 50 people that love KZ. That's all I got to say about that. There has to be 50 people that value this program, and we need to get 15 people. So who's going to be the first one to call? The number's on the bottom of your screen. Let's make KZ This Is Our Story a successful program, and it already is. But when you give, that's telling us that you like these kind of programs on WEIU TV. $75 for the first DVD, 2 or more, $60 each.
The phones are silent. Get them ringing. Talk to the storytellers right now. We've also got 2 people who are wives of storytellers, and we've got a sister in here to join us. So we've got lots of family and friends in the studio, and also family and friends out there we want to give thank yous to.
Okay, Dave and Jana, they are watching in Florida, and they said hello from Florida, and they'll be back in 1 week. So if you know Dave and Jana, you need to support this KZ. This is our story tonight. Ronnie from KZ, thank you so much. Joyce from KZ. And then there's a John and Joyce from Champaign, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Lisa from KZ. Who do you have?
I have Max from KZ, Lois Stell from KZ, Debbie from Martinsville, Alice from KZ, Debbie from Arlington, Tennessee.
Oh my gosh.
That must be a relative of somebody's, we're thinking.
She must be watching online, so hello, and if you're watching, we thank you for calling.
Well, Alice, I think, is a relative of Jim's, and then Karen from Waterloo, Illinois is also a sister? Sister, so thank you. We appreciate you calling in.
Okay, the phone, we only have, well, there's nobody on the phone right now, so what's that saying?
It's quiet.
It's quiet in here.
It's too quiet.
So Kean's, in a second, Kean's going to talk to Mo, which is going to be cool. But right now, if you've enjoyed the program so far and you want to support the programming here on WEIU TV, $75 for your first DVD or $60 for each. Kean, take it away.
Well, I've got Mo sitting here with me, and he just told the story about the circus and how the Lions Club got the Lioness. But you also have some interesting information to give us about the storytellers and how they're connected with that story.
Yes, it's really ironic that when I was doing this story and reading up on it, Lois Dale Somerville, as one of our storytellers here, she told me, she said, I was 11 years old, and I witnessed that.
Wow.
And she said, I remember a gentleman climbing up the side of a building and getting on the roof to get away from the bear and the lion. And then this evening, the other storyteller, Jim Goebel, he's telling me that his father was there. So there's quite a few people around KZ that know what's going on and seen that. And it's really a neat story of what they've done, what has happened. And I don't know if people could go to the library. There's all this information there. Everybody needs to read that, Kean, because I mean, there was comics way back then when they took it to St. Louis and went across the bridge, and the guy taking the toll, he said, "Oh my gosh, you got lions in there." He said, "Go on, just go on."
Yeah, it's a good story, and we're glad that you shared that with us and some interesting information about how the other storytellers are connected with it. So we're glad that you were able to tune in for that, and thank you for being here tonight with us, Mel.
Thank you.
Jana, over to you.
Hey, I'm here with Crystal Plummer, and she just happens to be my beautiful niece. And you told the story about Sweet Norma Jean's.
I did.
And tell us a little bit about Sweet Norma Jean's Bake Shop.
Sweet Norma Jean's Bake Shop is just a local place, family owned. We have a lot of friends that come in and help. Just a new business to KZ.
And can you give a shout out just to people that are supporting you, the people in KZ? How's it been, the support from them?
The people in KZ have been amazing. We have regulars now, which is really awesome. And they've just really supported us and been behind us the whole way, and we just really love and appreciate them.
That's awesome. That's another great story about how KZ people support KZ people. So I'm going to go back to Kent.
All right, we've got some phones open, some phones that are busy. I hear Mo back here. He said, hey, Cody, what's going on, partner? We've got some friends talking on the phones tonight, so that's awesome. Thanks for calling.
It makes it so much fun when people call. So if you're calling right, you want to call right now and you'd like to talk to one, whoever answers the phone, just have them switch the phone and give you to somebody else.
Yeah, we've got some more people over on the other side. If you want to talk to them, if you want to talk to Bernie, John, Joyce, Wayne.
Heather?
Yes.
Heather's over there flirting.
Yeah, well, that's all right. You know, whatever happens at WEIU stays at WEIU.
Yes,
not really,
it does.
because we're sharing it with you.
We hope that you're enjoying KZ. This is our, oh, there they are over there, Heather.
Wayne.
Oh, Wayne's having a good time over there. Well, that's for sure.
I just loved his story.
His story was so sweet, and we have enjoyed all of our storytellers so much. And if you've enjoyed listening to the storytellers tonight, please go to the phones and support the program, KZ This Is Our Story. For one DVD, it's $75 gift to WEIU TV. And one, if you get two or more, it's $60 each. We've got some people on the phone, but we're excited. We want you to go ahead and call. We do not want you to miss out on this opportunity.
No, and you know what? Every program we've done for an hour story, we've had a phone blitz. We have yet to have one tonight. We need a phone blitz tonight from KZ because we got to make this happen.
Yeah.
Do not wait anymore. You got to call right now. The number's at the bottom of your screen. We've got lots of phone operators standing by. Get those phones busy.
Yeah, you know, it's funny because we have had a phone blitz. This is the
every single time.
ninth community that we've had, so do not let KZ people be the one that did not have a phone blitz.
All the phones need to ring all at the same time, so don't sit there anymore. Pick it up. Cell phones are easy. We know you're kicked back. It's a little late, but that's all right.
Yeah.
Pick it up. Give us a call.
And you have your cell phone close by. These people right now have taken their time tonight because they want to talk to you and they want to support KZ. So we want you to support KZ as well.
We've got some more stories coming your way in the next break, which will be our last episode, or our last. What am I trying to say?
Story.
Our last story break. Rock Quarry by Doug Schonk, the KZ Fire Department by Jason Garver, Cumberland Presbyterian Church, told by Michaela Gard right there. And then I'm not going to give the last one away. We're going to save the last one because that's a very special one right there.
I'd like to give a shout out to Doug Schonk. I had the privilege of interviewing him, and he has kind of a surprise in his story. You know, he's kind of a tough dude, and you know, great story, but there'll be a surprise. So if you know Doug, be sure and watch it. You'll have a tender heart for him now.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just saw my aunt on the phone back there, so whoever's talking to Joyce, thank you for calling in. That's my Aunt Joyce, my Uncle Eddie back there, or back over here this time.
She knows everybody.
Everybody's switching chairs on me.
You know, we think about KZ and the big things. That's such a cool thing now that's going on there, and KZ is becoming a very popular community. But how cool is it that we were able to partner with the communities, and we have a program just on KZ. There's been a lot of news reports and all those kinds of things coming to KZ, but who else has done a 2-hour program just on KZ?
Just WEIU, and I'm lucky to be able to do this with you, and we're lucky to be able to share it with you.
Absolutely. It's something that we don't take for granted. You know, being a part of this is a lot of work for the storytellers, for us, but it is worth every single second because working at WEIU is a big part of our life, and we want to be able to share programs like KZ This Is Our Story. The series is a great series, and we want you to support that series by calling tonight.
And you know what we're starting to see? We're starting to see all these different little communities come together and really boost small town living. Not that there's anything wrong with city living or anything like that, but it's the small towns that sometimes get left out, and we're blowing up social media, blowing up the airwaves of public broadcasting, and we've got other storytellers in other towns such as Paris and Marshall and Effingham and Mattoon and
Arthur and several,
yes, who are saying, hey, tune in for KZ, this is our story, because WEIU does a great job. And we should give a shout out to our staff too.
Absolutely. We have the best staff ever. You know, everybody, you know, we work long hours sometimes, but we do it because we love what we do, and we have a fantastic staff.
And we also have great students here, and a lot of what you're doing is supporting the students' efforts, their careers. You're helping build careers. That's what they're doing tonight. We've got students on camera, we've got students on social media, we've got students behind the scenes, we've got some over here helping us keep track of all the accounting tonight as well. So thank you so much for supporting student careers as well.
You know, it's great being a part of Eastern Illinois University, and to be a part of the university to help students learn and, you know, get through school, and then also to be able to partner with our community. It's a great effort on both parts.
It is. We're licensed to Eastern Illinois University. We're a public broadcasting station, and we're also playing musical chairs, it looks like here. A lot of people are calling in for Jim. He was sitting over on the other side.
We need a couple more of him.
I'm not getting up there, but now he's up here just like someone else we saw from Effingham.
Mr. Marksman from Effingham. That's what happens when you come to the live night, because very quickly you get people calling you and want to talk to you, and it gets to be really fun.
So you keep those phones ringing. We're live in the studio at WEIU. We've got a few more stories coming your way. Don't go anywhere, and we'll be back.